Happy Monday. It is February 2nd, 2026. And honestly, I hope you have your coffee ready because I have been just vibrating with excitement for this deep dive all weekend. Usually on this show, we look at the world as it is right now. But today, we're looking at a stack of research that, quite frankly, represents the future I actually want to drive. We are talking about the 2027 BMW iX3.
Which is an interesting timeline considering it's currently February 2026.
I know. I can hear the listeners now. It's 2026. Why are we talking about a 2027 model?
Right. But here's the thing, and the research supports this car is technically out there. Production is ramping up. Deliveries are starting in March. And I have to admit, I am completely obsessed.
Uh-huh.
This isn't just another electric SUV. Looking at the sources, this feels like a brain transplant for the entire concept of the automobile.
That is a very apt way to put it. And clearly, you aren't the only one obsessed. The data shows this vehicle is effectively sold out until the end of 2026.
Which is wild. Deliveries haven't even really started yet, and you basically can't get one for a year. It already represents a third of BMW's electric orders in Europe. The demand is so high that they've had to add a second shift at the Debrecen plant in Hungary.
Wow.
Yeah, that facility has a capacity of 150,000 cars a year, and they're pushing it to the absolute limit just to fulfill the pre-orders.
So our mission today is to figure out why. Why is everyone clamoring for this thing? Because usually when I see this kind of hype, I get skeptical. I think, okay, great marketing team, nice grill, maybe a bigger screen.
Sure.
But when I dug into the reading, it became clear pretty quickly that this isn't just a refresh. This is the debut of the Neue Klasse platform.
Correct, the Neue Klasse. And to understand why that matters, we have to talk about how cars have been built for the last, 20 or 30 years.
The patchwork quilt method.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about the evolution of the car since the year 2000. Every time marketing wanted a new feature, engineering had to, bolt it on.
Right.
You want heated seats. Okay, add a specific computer chip and ECU and run some wires. You want automatic rain wipers. Add another sensor, another ECU, and more wires.
So you end up with a car that has, 100 different little brains?
Easily. A modern luxury car might have 100 different ECUs from 50 different suppliers, all trying to talk to each other over miles and miles of copper wiring. It's a committee meeting where no one speaks the same language.
Oh, that's a mess.
It is. It's heavy, it's inefficient, and the latency, the time it takes for messages to travel, is real.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare. And the Neue Klasse fixes this.
It deletes the committee entirely.
Yeah.
The mission of the iX3 and this new platform is to replace that mess with what they call Superbrains.
I love this terminology, Superbrains. It sounds like a comic book villain, but in a good way.
It's surprisingly accurate. BMW has consolidated all those little ECUs into just 4 high-performance computers.
Just 4.
And the jump in power is staggering. These 4 units provide 20 times the computing power of the previous generation of vehicles.
20 times? That seems like overkill. I mean, I'm just driving to the grocery store. I'm not mining crypto or launching a rocket. Why do I need a supercomputer to park at the mall?
Because it allows the car to be a software-defined vehicle. Think of it like the transition from a flip phone to a smartphone.
Okay.
A flip phone had a physical calculator chip, a physical radio tuner, maybe a physical calendar. A smartphone just has one main processor that does all of that in software.
Okay, that makes sense. It's more flexible.
Exactly. And physically, this allows for a massive weight loss program. Because you don't have chips scattered in every door handle and bumper, you don't need wires running to every corner of the car to connect them. They've moved to a zonal wiring architecture.
Let's unpack that. Zonal architecture.
Imagine your house. Instead of running a separate extension cord from the basement to the attic for every single lamp, you just have a breaker box on each floor.
Right. Much cleaner.
That's what BMW did. They divided the car into 4 zones: front, center, rear, and roof. All the data and power for the rear, for example, goes to one local hub, and that hub manages the lights, the trunk, the sensors.
So you're not running a wire from the brake light all the way to the dashboard anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the stats on this are incredible. By doing this, they removed 600 meters of wiring from the chassis.
600 meters. That's over half a kilometer of copper. Just gone.
Gone. And that cuts the weight of the wiring harness by 30%. In an electric car, where weight is the enemy of range, that is a massive engineering victory.
It really makes you realize how inefficient the old way was. We were literally driving around with half a kilometer of useless metal. But okay, having a lighter car is great, but let's talk about the experience. Because my absolute favorite detail in all of this research, and I promise I'm not making this up, is the name they gave to the computer that controls how the car drives.
I had a feeling you were going to bring this up.
They call it the Heart of Joy.
Das Herz der Freude.
Come on, that is adorable. Heart of Joy.
It sounds so emotional for a German engineering firm, but tell me it actually does something cool and isn't just a marketing slogan.
It is actually very significant. The Heart of Joy is one of those 4 Superbrains we mentioned, but its sole job is driving dynamics.
So steering, braking, going fast, all of it. In the past, your stability control, the thing that keeps you from spinning out on ice, was a separate system from the motor controller, which tells the wheels to spin.
Yeah.
If you hit a slick patch, the stability box had to send a message to the motor box saying, hey, cut the power.
Which takes time. Milliseconds, but time.
Right, and at highway speeds, a few milliseconds is a few meters. The Heart of Joy integrates the motor control and the chassis control into a single unit.
Oh, okay.
Because they're on the same silicon. There is no message to send. It's one brain thinking about traction and power simultaneously.
So it's thinking faster than I can even feel the car slip.
Much faster. The system responds 10 times faster than current BMW systems. It creates a connection between the driver's foot and the road that is virtually instantaneous.
And that leads us to the numbers, because this is the part where I start drooling a little bit. This is my dream car territory.
Okay.
We're looking at 345 kilowatts. That's 469 horsepower.
From a dual motor all-wheel drive setup.
Yep. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.9 seconds. Top speed, 210 kilometers per hour.
Which is quite high for an EV, actually. Usually manufacturers cap them lower around 160 or 180 to save battery and prevent overheating.
Right.
The fact that BMW allows 210 speaks to their confidence in the system.
It's fast, it's snappy, and thanks to that Heart of Joy, it probably handles like it's on rails. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room with every EV discussion. The battery.
The Gen 6 technology.
Right, because power is great, but if I'm stuck at a charger for an hour, the joy goes away pretty fast. What has changed here?
Everything. This is where we need to get into the physics a little bit.
Yeah.
They've moved from the old prismatic battery modules to cylindrical cells.
Explain the difference, prismatic versus cylindrical.
Okay, so prismatic cells are like rectangular bricks. They stack easily, but they have thermal limitations. Cylindrical cells, which are what Tesla uses, look like oversized AA batteries. BMW is arranging these in a cell-to-pack format.
Meaning no modules.
No modules, just cells packed directly into the chassis structure. This improves cooling drastically and, crucially, allows them to switch from a 400-volt architecture to an 800-volt architecture.
Okay, 800 volts. I see that number everywhere now. Why is that the magic number?
Think of charging a battery like filling a bucket with a garden hose.
Right.
To fill it faster, you have 2 choices. You can get a wider hose, that is amperage or current,
Right.
or you can turn up the water pressure, that is voltage.
Okay. I mean,
If you just use a wider hose high amperage, you create a lot of friction and heat. The cable gets hot, the battery gets hot. But if you double the pressure, go to 800 volts, you can push the same amount of energy much faster with less heat.
So 800 volts is high pressure.
Exactly. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating technical details in the research, something the engineers call honesty in the charging curve.
I love this part, because usually when you see a charging chart, it looks like a nice smooth hill.
Right. Manufacturers use software to artificially smooth out the charging speed so it looks pretty and consistent on a graph. BMW decided to ride the cell limit line. They are pushing the current to the absolute maximum the physics of the chemistry allows at any given second.
So they aren't hiding the jagged edges.
No, they are letting the physics dictate the speed. And what it means is that the charging peak is massive, 400 kilowatts.
Which is insane. Most chargers I see are 150, maybe 300 if you're lucky.
It hits that 400 kilowatts just above 10% charge, holds it for about 3 minutes, that's the rush, and then naturally tapers off as the battery fills up.
And the result is that 10% to 80% charge takes just 21 minutes. That's a bathroom break and a coffee.
Precisely. And the range reflects that efficiency too. We're looking at up to 805 kilometers of range.
805 kilometers, that is a serious road trip.
It is. And I read they actually tested a prototype on a 1,000-kilometer trip.
Now, just to clarify for the listener, they didn't do 1,000 kilometers on one charge. That would be magic.
Correct. It was a 1,000-kilometer test run. But the key was that they used the public infrastructure, specifically referencing the Tesla's supercharger network, to show that high-speed charging makes a 1,000-kilometer trip effortless. The anxiety of, can I get there, is largely being engineered out of existence.
Speaking of anxiety, I want to pivot to the smart features, because sometimes technology just makes life more complicated. But there are a few things in this iX3 that seem genuinely helpful.
This goes back to those superbrains. When you have that much computing power, you can optimize things that used to be dumb hardware. Take the fuses, for example.
The smart fuses. This sounded like the most boring part of the spec sheet until I read what they actually do.
It's actually brilliant. In
Yeah.
a normal car, you have a fuse box with physical fuses, little pieces of metal wire that melt if the current gets too high.
And if one blows, you're stuck on the side of the road with a flashlight.
Exactly. The iX3 replaces 150 of those physical fuses with digital programmable ones.
So if it blows, it's just a software trip.
Yes. The computer can analyze why it tripped and reset it if it's safe. But more importantly, because they're digital, they can manage power distribution much more precisely. They don't just bridge a connection, they monitor it.
Okay.
This one change improves the vehicle's overall energy efficiency by 20%.
Wait, 20% efficiency gain just by changing how the fuses work?
Yes, physical fuses have resistance, they waste heat. Digital management eliminates that waste.
That is wild. It's like finding free money.
It is. And then there is the intelligence of the navigation system. The car is constantly learning from the entire fleet of BMWs on the road.
Oh, the geolocation correction. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. When the GPS says you have arrived and the charger's actually on the other side of a shopping mall wall and you have to drive in circles.
The Neue Klasse solves that.
Yeah.
If other BMWs have charged there, the system analyzes their GPS data and their approach angle. It learns where the charger actually is, not just where the map says it is. It corrects the coordinates for you.
That saves so much frustration. And there's another learning feature about the power output, right?
Yes, power learning. We've all seen chargers that advertise 350 kilowatts on the sticker, but in reality, they're broken or throttled and only give you 50.
The worst. You plan for a 15-minute stop and you're there for an hour.
The car remembers. If the fleet knows a specific charger never delivers more than 170 kilowatts, the car will use that real number for your route planning. It won't promise you a fast stop if it knows the hardware is faulty.
See, that's the kind of smarts I want. I don't need a car to tell me jokes. I need it to tell me the truth about my arrival time.
Agreed.
Although I do have to mention the one feature that feels a little bit like magic, the charging flap.
Yeah.
It opens automatically. When you pull up to a known charger or your home, it just pops open. No fumbling with a dirty cover in the winter. It's a tiny detail, but it's so thoughtful.
It reduces friction. And that's really the theme here, reducing the friction of owning an EV.
Which brings us to the biggest friction point or opportunity, depending on how you look at it. The relationship between the car and the house. We need to talk about segment 5, bi-directional charging.
This is where the iX3 stops being just a car and starts being a piece of infrastructure. The iX3 has native support for V2H vehicle-to-home and V2G vehicle-to-grid.
And native means I don't need to buy some giant expensive aftermarket box, right?
Correct. The Energy Master unit is built right into the battery pack. You just plug it in.
So practically speaking, I can run my house off my car.
You can. And the capacity is significant. Now, there's a regional difference here worth noting. In Europe, the V2H system is rated at 11 kilowatts.
Yeah.
But in the US, because of different electrical codes and standards, it's rated at 19.2 kilowatts.
19.2 kilowatts. That's a lot of power. I mean, my central AC doesn't even pull that much.
It is massive. 19.2 kilowatts is enough to run the AC, the dryer, the oven, and all the lights simultaneously. In the US, the car actually comes standard with the AC charging professional package to handle that load.
I just keep imagining the savings. I could charge the car at work or at night when electricity's cheap, and then during peak hours when the rates skyrocket, bam, I run the house off the car.
That is called energy arbitrage. And the estimates suggest a typical home could save several hundred euros or dollars a year doing exactly that.
It literally pays for itself. Well, slowly, but still, it turns the car into an asset.
It changes the value proposition completely. You aren't just buying transportation, you're buying a home battery backup system that happens to do 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds.
And that's the aha moment for me. So let's bring this all together. We have a car that's sold out a year in advance. It's lighter because it ditched the spaghetti wiring. It's got a heart of joy that makes it drive like a dream. It charges in 21 minutes, and it can power my house.
It is a compelling package. It justifies the hype.
It really does. I mean, usually I'm skeptical when a company says new class, but this feels like a genuine leap forward. It's the car I've been waiting for.
It is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises a fascinating question about how we value automobiles. For the last century, We judged a car by its cylinders. V6, V8, V12. That was the hierarchy of value.
Right. The engine was the heart.
But now, we're moving to a world where we judge a car by its brains and its integration. How fast are the computations? How well does it talk to the energy grid? Are we moving to a world where your car is more important to your home's electricity stability than the power company?
That is a wild thought. The car as the energy anchor of the home.
It's happening. The new class is the first step.
Well, I, for one, am ready for it. Though, as we established, I might have to wait until 2027 to actually get my hands on one of these.
You and thousands of others.
True. But hey, good things come to those who wait, right? Thank you so much for diving into this with me today. It's rare that a car gets me this excited about the future. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in and letting me geek out about my favorite new obsession. Grazie mille per l'ascolto.
Until next time.